Right, welcome ladies and gents. This will be my spoiler-free review of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. First bit of advice, do not watch the trailer before you watch this movie because you will feel missold. What do I mean by that? Well, in the trailer, the character motivation for Scott Lang, Paul Rudd, aka Ant-Man, is he needs more time with his daughter. He needs more time. Perfect. That makes sense as to why he'd make a deal with a maniacal madman in the quantum realm. Yes? Kind of. I mean, at least I'd feel a bit more emotionally involved and connected with this character. That's not in the movie at all. Thanks for the false advertisement, Marvel. That's shit. Really, stop doing that. Stop it. That's bad. The thing is, you can't... I understand hiding certain things in trailers. There's nothing in this film that needs to be hidden like that. You know, there really isn't. And to change from a trailer, to change the emotional point of why characters are doing certain things and just completely missell it in the trailer is a huge misrepresentation of what the film is. It has got nothing to do with that. And that would have actually been a better film. The thing is, they're selling you a film that is better than the product they're giving you, basically. So they conned you in with a better product, a better marketing, and then the film that you do go and watch, the characters' motivations are just not there. There is no motivation for anyone doing anything in this film. People are just lying left, right, and centre. People are hiding stuff left, right, and centre. Michelle Pfeiffer's original Wasp character, I said when the trailer dropped initially, I was like, why hasn't she bothered to tell anyone anything about what she did in the quantum realm? Still not actually explained. Maybe I guess she got laid and she didn't want to tell anyone that, and then through no fault of her own, people died. I mean, it's just nonsense. She was a superhero. That would have come with the territory. She would have told people, especially given the fact that like Kang could have come out. It doesn't make any sense. That's so dumb. So dumb. Cassie Lang, Ant-Man's daughter in this, basically is now like some freedom fighter rebel, which, cool, fine, like it, right? That's nice, but also doesn't really like her father that much. That doesn't really make any sense. Like, her father's done a lot for her and has lost time with Cassie through no fault of his own. So the daughter wouldn't or shouldn't, resent her father for that. It wasn't his fault. So that's really weird. And I'm back in the room. I just coughed. Sorry, ladies and gents. That's why my face looks significantly different from the cut there. Anyway, so she's become this kind of freedom fighter, resents her father a significant amount. And that's all fine, sure, if we start to look at that, okay. But then her father, Ant-Man, now just doesn't help anyone. That doesn't make any sense. Why is he not helping anyone anymore? He's just resting on his laurels. Not really explained. Everything's very paper thin, basically. This film is... I remember the first Ant-Man, it was just a film, wasn't it? It was just Ant-Man. Introduce Ant-Man. That's what it was. And the second one was very similar to that. It was just to introduce the Wasp, and it was a film. It was just a standalone film. This film is a vehicle simply to introduce Kang and the threat of Kang, but in a very substandard way. And it doesn't hold up to scrutiny at all. The VFX houses as well, like, were not given enough time to work on this film. For a film that is so heavily reliant on VFX, green screen sound stages, give your VFX studios enough time to perfect stuff. MODOK, he's in the trailer, it's not a spoiler, looks like what a 5-year-old's interpretation of Humpty Dumpty would look like. You know, the old nursery rhyme, Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall, Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. A 5-year-old would just draw MODOK. And it's not in like a grotesque way. He doesn't look stupid or, ridiculous because he's grotesque. It's Darren, it's Yellow Jacket, again, that's in the trailer. And he literally, he's just a giant egghead. He would just look, it just looks like Humpty Dumpty. Give your VFX houses, well, that's not even a VFX house issue. That's just a Marvel issue. They nerfed MODOK. Why? Stop it. Like, stop introducing characters and villains for no reason that go nowhere, and they're not even really their actual comic book self. It's frustrating. And the whole green screen and soundstage situation as well is very frustrating. These films have now just become essentially, you know, how long can we rent this soundstage for? Cool. Just do it all then. Do it all. And when the embargo lifted on this movie, it was all about Star Wars, comparing it to Star Wars. And you know what? That's an insult to Star Wars. Because at least in Star Wars, they were interacting with practical VFX or practical sets. Barely any of this is practical. And it really does suffer as a result of that. Marvel's VFX have not been good for a long time now. Years. Years and years and years. And that's their own fault. Other companies can do it. Other companies give their VFX studios enough time to work on the VFX. Marvel doesn't. And it suffers. It really heavily suffers. The distinction between the quantum realm and cosmic, so outer space, is not. It's not there. You could just be anywhere with this, and that's not cool either. You know, I'd like a distinction between everything, and there just isn't. On an aesthetical level, it's just not there, which suffers as a result of that as well. Pacing is very bad because everything's so disjointed. Because this is purely a setup for Kang and to introduce Kang, and it's not. He's not an individual threat as he is to Ant-Man. They have to sort of coerce Ant-Man into this situation and make them interact, and that's why it's not an Ant-Man film. It's just a vehicle to introduce Kang, and it really suffers as a result of that. Bad pacing, disjointed. Yeah, it really, really does suffer. Not good. Not only that, but you have, again, characters' motivations kind of all over the place, and sort of modern day ideological elements are thrown in there, like socialism, freedom fighters, peaceful protests, homeless shelters, and all this kind of stuff, which is odd to have that sort of commentary from a huge capitalist superpower like Disney. I don't want to be lectured on socialism, and I don't even want it mentioned in a Disney movie with a huge capitalist superpower. It's just beyond me. It's just bizarre. Anyway, performances. Paul Rudd doesn't feel like Ant-Man in this. He doesn't feel like Ant-Man. He feels like this is the first film where he doesn't have writing credits, and I think he had writing credits. This is a guess. He had writing credits on some of his dialogue before, because it doesn't feel like him. It's weird. The performance is fine, but it doesn't feel like the character that we've seen before. Cassie Lang, because we've not seen her, I can't comment really on her as a character, but Catherine Newton is the actor's name. Did a very good job. Like, cool. She's a good actor. I'd like to see her in more things. We had Evangeline Lilly. She's sort of been sidelined a little bit in this movie. It feels like it, and she obviously did some outspoken things on, you know, during the whole situation, lockdowns and things like that. Maybe they sidelined her because of that. I don't know. But she put in a good performance from what we saw. We had Michael Douglas and Michelle Pfeiffer. Their performances were fine. They just do some sort of... Well, Michael Douglas just does some sort of one-liners and some quips here and there. I'd like to see him actually do more. You know, he's a good actor. Of course he is. I'd like to see him do more in these movies. But maybe he doesn't want to, I'm guessing, because he doesn't really get much to do. Michelle Pfeiffer puts in a good performance with what she's given. Like, I buy her performance, but the character's motivations are dumb, if that makes sense. You've got to kind of separate the two. And then, of course, Majors, right? Jonathan Majors as Kang. He's a very good actor, very robust. He's got very good range, and I like him as an actor. The best bits were in the trailer from his Kang, though. There was very little outside of what you see in the trailer that is noteworthy, specifically as his performance. This is not spoilers. I don't think that's a spoiler anyway. But his performance was good. So if you watch the trailer and you're like, you know what, like I really like his performance there. Cool, epic, good. Sure, you'll like his performance. But I think as well, like as a villain and as a character that this is setting up, they should have done more with it, and they didn't. And I think that's a shame. They definitely reshot stuff. They definitely reshot stuff because they were reshooting stuff at the last minute for this movie, and you can definitely feel it. They reshot the ending and characters' motivations and stuff. You 100% feel it. 100%. That first trailer sold you a different film. This is not that same film. Not that same film at all. So reshoots were definitely felt on this. Anyway, so 2 post-credit scenes. I can't tell you about them because spoilers. They're fine, I guess. The last one will be the one that you'll enjoy more than the first one. Anyway, there you go. There's my no spoiler review. I'll be filming a spoiler one or just do a live stream. I don't know which one yet. If you've seen it, let me know what you think. On a whole, can't strongly recommend it. As a movie, I can't recommend it. As a movie which is part of a bigger thing, which you kind of have to see to understand what else is going on. Yeah, I mean, you have to see it. Like, that's what they're relying on. But these films are just suffering now. It's like a floundering fish. It's almost a bit pathetic. Because this could have been a good movie. If it was this sort of isolated film and they focused on that, I think it would have been a much better film. Do you remember when it was just a little bits that you'd pick up for the grander thing and it would still feel like a complete movie? They've lost that. Everything is too interconnected. It doesn't have to be. But yeah, anyway. Let me know what you think down below. Cheers, guys. Take care.